letter likely you were trying to make 4 5-letter words. And on the left there are the 4 5-letter words that you can make: large, lager, regal, and lair. So if you look at that, you can immediately, if you know lager and you understand the lager beer, type of beer, you can eliminate things like the rum, the brandy, the wine, things like that. So all those get dropped out immediately. If you look at regal, you can then throw out things like the Jester's Stout and the Dwarf Ale. And so then you're faced with either the Moon King's Bock or the Sun Queen's Pilsner. Then you have the glare, meaning sun, and also large, if you think of the sun as much bigger than the moon, so that would have led you to the fact that you were supposed to choose the Sun Queen's Pilsner. Also, we were asked about what would happen if there was a detect poison placed on this. We said you couldn't do it on the entire room and get the answer, but if you went up and placed, I'm detecting poison on this one barrel, you could find the answer to whether or not that one barrel was poisoned. So, a 1 out of 9 chance you might have picked the right one and you could have hit the answer on the first try.
Or a 5th level monk would be handy.
Yes, or a 5th level monk.
Well, okay, to start, in the last room, you were told to drink something in a dungeon. You don't drink anything in a dungeon. Come on, people.
It's like picking up a duck.
However, when you did find the correct, hopefully, ale from the last room, you were transported to the feast room, which, when you got there, you found that you were magically held. And pretty much that's all you knew. There was a little sign on the wall that said, unfasten chains. If you would...
What's the button name you did, so?
Do it.
So that's like, we have one.
Had I had a group do that, I probably would have let them go. That's the solution we had to fix.
Yeah, I didn't get that solution from the clue.
Yeah. You don't have a picture of the sign, but you can see it. It's a weird font made up of 3 strokes. It shows a weird, crazy font. Some of them are like, the T is really odd the way it's done. That was a big clue. Why would they make this sign out of this really weird font of 3 strokes?
Hardly a word.
I was going to mention the weird T, but I didn't. But yeah, actually, yeah, the T was the clue, because normally you make a T with just 2 lines. And this one you would actually make a T with 3. So it's showing that you had to make something with 3. However, everything on the table was stuck down except for your silverware. 3 pieces of silverware. So everybody, most groups I think, realized that you had to spell a word. And with just that sign, even when we play tested, we thought, it's chains. I'm going to look for some physical means to unlock that. Yeah, there's some sort of block. So that's why we told the DMs, make sure they know that it's a magical force. There is no physical lock. So we try to help people that way. I know a lot of people went through, they were trying to dispel all these words that would have some sort of get me the heck out of here magically. But the answer actually, you could spell disenchant. And one of the plates was gold, and that's the plate you needed to start the D on. And once you spell disenchant, you're good to go.
Yeah, we actually had some DMs that threatened to sing some enchanted evening.
Yeah, we told them not to do that.
You're like,
yeah, very lucky. So once you solve that,
so then, Rusty, the room 7 was the other room that was different between the 2 dungeons with combat. And as you walked into As you walked into room 7, you were faced with a rust monster. Every purple token holder. And of course that had some unique challenges with it as far as combat. So you pretty much were immediately engaged in combat from the minute you walked in the room. What's that?
Everybody screamed, "Bomb!"
Some sort of center of the stirred or something like that was with you. You also saw over in the corner a chair. Very interesting looking chair. So while you were fighting the rust monster, this chair just sort of sat there, and as you got closer and closer to hopefully killing the rust monster without destroying all your weapons in the process, the chair would animate, stand up, walk around. It was actually a really cool suit that we found. I think we found that at the Hunt Show a couple years ago.
Yeah, earlier you got, there was a clue in the mermaid's chest about how she was a shapeshifter, and I think you were also getting a clue earlier. So, so basically,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
Are there any of the blue hands that were the chair?
I think you're all probably still passed
That was a cool costume, but my understanding is it was very, very hot.
Very hot, yeah. So the deal was, basically it was the Sea Lich just observing the party go around to see who was the best threat and waste your best attacks against the rust monster.
Yep. So then the chair would animate, move around a little bit, and run behind the scenes, and you would witness a transformation into a lich. And she would engage the party in combat as well, imagine that. So she was actually fairly hard to kill. She had quite a few defenses against all sorts of magical enchantments and charms and holds and things like that. She had some special attacks, but it was pretty much a straightforward fight.
Is Sarah here? She's going to make a costume.
She left?
All right, we'll tell her we all applauded very loudly.
We have our other.
She also fixed our second chair, but it broke all apart.
Do we have our other liches here?
Any NPCs that?
Yes, and actually that's a good time for anybody who's an NPC. If you can stand up for us.
Katie back there. Come on, Katie. Show. He was
That's right. So it's nice. I like having NPCs and then because it gives you something else to interact with besides the DM. So then on the puzzle side, there was a sarcophagus room, and you also got to meet the Lich. A little more in person.
Thanks, Dave.
I'll turn it over.
Yeah, and this is another one of those that ends up being a team type puzzle because you have a big sarcophagus that you have to, everybody has to put their arms in.